Let me tell you about something strange that happens with money. Take a person who's struggling, stretched thin, behind on the bills, juggling what to pay first, and just give them some money. Not advice, not a budgeting app, just money. And almost overnight, something shifts. They make better decisions. They plan further ahead. They stop making the small, expensive mistakes they were making the week before. It looks like they suddenly got smarter. But nothing about them changed. Something in their brain just got switched back on. Hi, I'm Wiz, and today I want to show you one of the most important and most invisible things about money that your brain will never tell you. Because the way being broke actually keeps you broke has almost nothing to do with the number in your account. It has almost everything to do with what that number is quietly doing to your mind. Here's the idea. Two researchers, Sendil Mullainathan and Eldar Shafir, spent years studying what happens to people when they don't have enough. Not enough money, not enough time, not enough of anything that matters. And they found something they didn't expect. Scarcity, the feeling of not having enough, isn't just an uncomfortable situation you're in. It actually changes how your brain works. It reaches in and reshapes the way you think, the way you decide, the way you see the future. They had a name for what it costs you. They called it a bandwidth tax. Let me explain what that means. Picture your mind like a computer. You've only got so much processing power at any moment, so much attention, so much willpower, so much room to think clearly. Now imagine part of that power is always running a program in the background you can't turn off. A program that's constantly calculating, how do I make rent? What bill is due? Can I cover groceries? What happens if the car breaks down? That program never closes. And it's eating your processing power every single second, even when you're trying to think about something else entirely. That's the bandwidth tax. Being short on money doesn't just empty your wallet, it quietly occupies your mind. And this isn't a feeling, it's measurable. Let me show you the study that proves it, because once you hear this, you can't unhear it. In India, there are sugarcane farmers who get paid mostly once a year, one big lump sum when the harvest comes in. Which means, for a few months before the harvest, the very same farmer is poor, stretched, broke, waiting. And for a few months after, that same person is comparatively rich, same farmer, same fields, same brain, just rich at one point in the year and poor at another. So the researchers did something clever. They gave these farmers the same cognitive tests, basically intelligence and problem-solving puzzles, before the harvest when they were broke, and again after when they had money. And the gap was staggering. When they were poor, the same people scored as if they'd lost around 13 points of IQ. 13 points. That's not a small wobble. That's the kind of drop you'd see from missing a full night of sleep. The poverty didn't make them less capable people. It was renting out a huge chunk of their mind and leaving less behind to think with. Let that sink in. The very situation where you most need to think clearly, when money is tight and every decision counts, is the exact situation where your brain has the least room to do it. That's the trap. And if this is the kind of thing that rewires how you see your own life, do me a favor and subscribe. I dig up one of these every week, and they tend to change how you look at money for good. Now there's a second half to this, and it's just as important. Scarcity doesn't only drain your bandwidth, it also narrows your focus hard. The researchers call this tunneling. When you're short on something, your brain zooms in on the most urgent problem in front of you and shoves everything else outside the tunnel. And here's the twist. Inside that tunnel, you're actually sharper. A person scrambling to cover this week's rent can get incredibly focused and resourceful about this week's rent. That's the focus dividend. The problem is what falls outside the tunnel. The future, the big picture plan. The thing that's important but not screaming at you right now. You take the payday loan with the insane interest rate, because inside the tunnel, today's emergency is everything, and next month is invisible. You skip the oil change to save $40, and 3 months later, the engine costs you $2,000. You can't take the better paying job across town because you can't afford the gas to get there this week. Every one of those is a smart move inside the tunnel and a disaster outside it. Scarcity makes you trade your future to survive your present. And then that broken future arrives with new emergencies and pulls you right back into the tunnel. That's the loop. That is mechanically how being broke keeps you broke. It's not laziness. It's not bad character. It's a brain doing exactly what scarcity forces it to do. So now the obvious question, what's different about people who aren't trapped in this? And the answer is not what most money gurus will tell you. It's not that wealthy people are smarter or more disciplined or have some special mindset you can manifest. The real difference has a boring name. It's slack. Slack is room for error. When you have enough, a surprise bill is an annoyance, not a catastrophe. You can forget something, mess something up, make an average decision, and nothing collapses. That breathing room is what frees your bandwidth and lets you think past the tunnel. Plan for 30 years out, take the smart risk. Rich brains aren't running better software. They've just got more free memory because they're not taxed every second by the question of whether they'll make it through the week, which sounds like a cruel catch. You need slack to think well, but you need to think well to build slack. So here's how you start breaking the loop, even from inside it. First, the most powerful move is to attack the bandwidth tax directly, make fewer money decisions. Every choice you have to actively make burns bandwidth, so automate the ones you can. Automatic bill payments and automatic transfer of even a tiny amount the day you get paid, these aren't just convenient, they're literally freeing up mental processing power by taking the decision off your plate entirely. Second, protect a small buffer like your life depends on it, because in a sense, your decision-making does. Even $100 of slack changes the math in your head. It turns a flat tire from a 5-alarm crisis that hijacks your whole brain into a manageable annoyance. The buffer isn't really about the money. It's about buying back your bandwidth. And third, this one's simple but it matters. Never make big money decisions while you're deep in the tunnel. When you're stressed, exhausted, panicking about a bill, that is the worst possible moment to choose anything that matters because that's exactly when your bandwidth is gone. Schedule your real money thinking for when you're calm and rested. Same brain, completely different horsepower. I want to ask you something, and I genuinely read these. Drop a comment and tell me one money decision that scarcity made for you. One of those smart in the tunnel, terrible outside it moves you. Look back on now. I want to hear it. Here's the bigger idea I want you to walk away with. If you've ever felt like you make worse decisions when money's tight, you weren't imagining it, and it was never a flaw in you. It's a tax the situation charges your brain, and the cruelty of it is that it hits hardest exactly when you can least afford it. But once you can see the tax, you can start routing around it. You can build slack on purpose. You can decide when your tunnel gets to run your life and when it doesn't. If you want to keep going, I put together a free money brain cheat sheet. It breaks down the scarcity trap and a handful of the other mental traps that quietly drain your wallet, all on one simple page you can keep. It's completely free, and the link is waiting for you down in the description. I'm Wiz. Your money problems are brain problems. And once you see how your mind works, the money part gets a whole lot easier. I'll see you in the next one.